Jill here, and today I just felt like I was supposed to do a message about prosperity. So if you follow the headlines, I'm sure you've seen that Pastor Benny Hinn has come out recently and said, hey, I may have taken that prosperity preaching a little bit too far. And he's been widely known. If you don't know who Benny Hinn is, I welcome you to look him up and do a little bit of research. But he's a well-known preacher who's been an evangelist all over the world and done a lot of really amazing things. He's been known for preaching that tithes and offerings will lead you to a direct link to health and wealth and success. And now he's basically saying, hey, I want to get back to the cross. I want to get back to my roots. I don't want to be known as a prosperity preacher. I want to be known for preaching the gospel. I just was so inspired by his message. And I had never really read either one of the King's books in the Old Testament, like from front to end, right? I kind of knew the story. I knew that David was the father of Solomon, and Solomon was the wisest king, and he was the wealthiest king, and that God had blessed Solomon in this amazing way. So I'd heard all of those things, but until I sat down and actually read from cover to cover 1 Kings and 2 Kings, I really never knew the complete backstory. What I learned when I was watching Solomon take over for his father, and some reports say that he's like 16, 18. He's very young when he takes over. But his dad David was known for his heart, right? Even when David made a mistake, what we all want to do is get back to that point where David was, where he turned his heart right back to God. So he wasn't afraid to, do something that was wrong, but he was more concerned with a relationship and being in right standing with God than he ever was with, religious customs or being popular or being wealthy or any of those other things. And so think of the celebrity that comes to mind when I tell you Solomon is the wealthiest. He is the most handsome. He's got everything that you could possibly want in this life. God says, I will continue to bless you and give you everything in this crazy amount of abundance. All you have to do is listen to me and obey my commands. That's it, right? That's it. Like, God doesn't give him this huge long list of things where he has to come through and check the box here and check. So Solomon prays these prayers. But when you look at the prayers and the way that his heart is positioned and how humble his heart is when he prays these things, it's amazing to me because his heart was perfectly positioned toward the Lord. It was just in perfect alignment. He was humble. He was gracious. There was nothing that was competing with God's will in his prayers, right? They were beautiful. So Solomon goes through all of his life and he's got all the success. The Lord tells him, hey, I don't want you to marry anyone of a different religion because they will turn your heart from me. And the Lord had said, hey, I'll give you all this. You will always have this abundance unless you disobey me or unless you stop listening to me. The only thing that Solomon had to do was continue down that path, and he did that for the majority of his life. But he had one weakness, and that was women and love. He married some women that were outside of the religion. And that's important because God had specifically warned him, like, hey, don't do that because it will turn your heart away. Well, guess what? It did. It did. And so at the end of his life, Solomon was actually building shrines that were not for the Lord. They were for the competing gods, right? The gods that don't have any true breath, the gods that don't have any true power. All of these things, they were man-made worshiping centers. I learned God is also so much more gracious than any of us deserve. He said, Solomon, because of David, because your dad's heart was so beautiful and it was so in touch with me, I'm not even going to take anything away from you. I'm going to downsize your heir. I'm going to downsize the kingdom when it comes to your son because I just love David so much and I promised him that I would always have an heir. And so he keeps that covenant and he keeps that promise for us and with us. And it's amazing that somebody that has their heart so perfectly positioned toward the Lord can fall. And it was a really good reminder. This chair I'm sitting on, this place that I live in, the car that I drive, the people that I'm with, everything here on this earth, God has given. it belongs to him. Everything in my bank account, it belongs to him. It doesn't belong to me. He's just entrusted me to take care of it. And it's an honor and it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to give you this message and share something on my heart with you. And I pray that it blesses you. I pray that it reminds you to stay humble. I pray that it reminds you that the Lord loves you and he's gracious and he doesn't expect you to be perfect. So stay blessed, everyone. Have a great day. I'm praying for you.